tell you, you ought not be ashamed to be a witness. You ought not be ashamed to tell somebody that the Lord has touched me, that the Lord has made a difference in my life. It says, show yourself to the priest, and as Moses commanded, make an offering for your cleansing, for a testimony against them. But here's the shout. I got to leave you here, but here's the shout. Many of us celebrate the fact that this man who had been covered with leprosy bowed down his face toward the ground and says to Jesus that if you are willing, that you can make me clean. That's something to shout about. That shows radical faith. And then Jesus looks at him, stretches forth his hand and touches him and says, I'm willing. And the leprosy leaves him, does not contaminate Jesus. That's something to shout about. It shows that Jesus has power. But then Jesus says to the man, go and don't tell anybody about what the Lord has done for you, but in fact, go immediately, show yourself to the priest, make an offering as a testimony to them. That's something to shout about, because it shows restoration and reconciliation, re-entry back into society. That's something to shout about. But if you only stop there, you'll miss what the Lucan writer really wants you to celebrate. Here it is. I'm going here. Verse 15. But now, more than ever, the word about Jesus spread abroad. Many crowds would gather to hear him and to be cured of their diseases. But he would withdraw to deserted places and pray. You missed your shout. We can shout about the leper being cleansed, and we can shout about Jesus being willing, and we can shout about the fact that he was able to re-enter society. But what the Lucan writer wants us to know is that because of all of that, the word of God has now launched out. And oh, brothers and sisters, you don't have to be a preacher for the word of God to launch out. You don't have to be an evangelist for the word of God to launch out. You don't have to know Genesis to Revelation for the word of God to launch out. But when you walk your daily walk, and when you live your daily life, your experience ought to be a testimony to the fact that God has done miraculous things. When folk look at you who know how you used to be, who know how you used to talk, who know where you used to go, you ought not shy away from who you have been and from what folk know about you, because when they look at you now that the Lord has laid his hand on you, and now that the Lord has touched you, and now that you've met the willing God, you ought to stand as a witness that I used to be messed up, but the Lord touched me. I used to be crazy, but the Lord touched me. And the word of God is launching forth so that now people who see and who have heard what the Lord has done, they are now making their way to Jesus to hear the word and to be cleansed.